All right, so are you ready to dive into some Guyanese political drama?
Always.
I figured. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the accuracy of the voter list there and this court case that could totally change their elections.
Yeah.
We've got this article from News Source Guyana. It really lays it all out there.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me is that this isn't just like names on a list.
Right.
It's really about the whole idea of a working democracy.
Yeah.
You know, the right to vote and making sure it all works the right way, that it's accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the right that everyone's like super fired up about right now.
Yeah.
So the PNCR, that's the main opposition party, they're taking the Guyana Elections Commission to court.
GCOM.
GCOM. They say the voter list is so big, it's like about to explode.
Yeah.
They think there's going to be some serious voter fraud.
Oh, for sure. And it's not like their concerns are totally crazy.
Right.
The voter list has over 718,000 names on it.
Wow.
Which is insane when you think about the fact that Guyana only has like a little over 800,000 people total.
Right. That's almost everybody.
Yeah. So that right there, just that difference makes you wonder what's going on.
For sure. And that's exactly what the PNCR is going after. They filed for a judicial review.
Right.
They're asking the court to look at GCOMs and if they're following the law. And they want to force GPCOM to check every single voter's address.
House to house.
Yeah, like a door-to-door thing.
Right.
And they're basing all of this on the National Registration Act.
Right.
They say that verifying an address isn't enough. You got to make sure that they actually live there.
You have to connect the person to the address.
Exactly. So the PNCR's chief scrutineer, Carol Smith-Joseph, she says that they skipped this whole step.
Oh, wow.
Since the act was like changed back in 2022. And she's got receipts. In her affidavit, she points to addresses that are literally empty lots.
Really?
Empty buildings. It's crazy.
That's wild. Like, how did they even get on the list in the first place?
I know, right?
Maybe it's just outdated.
Right.
Maybe people have moved.
Yeah. Or maybe, they just didn't keep good records.
Yeah, especially like in the poorer areas.
Yeah, that's a good point. Smith-Joseph also found people who live at the addresses on the list, but they've never even heard of the person registered there.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That is not good.
But like, how reliable can the system be?
Yeah, I mean, the voter list is supposed to be like the real deal.
Yeah.
A true list of everybody who can vote.
Right.
If that's wrong, then the whole election is messed up.
For sure. Like, how can you have a real election if you don't even know who can vote?
Right. Yeah, it really makes you think, like, what does one person, one vote really mean?
Right.
And of course, the ruling party, they're not too happy about this whole house-to-house thing.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I can't imagine any party in power wanting to, like, totally change things up.
Right.
Especially if it could mean they lose power.
Especially in Guyana.
True. They've had a lot of, like, political craziness there and problems with elections before.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So how does this all fit in with that?
Well, you could say that the PNCR is trying to make things more fair,
Okay.
addressing all these issues they've had with elections. They're saying, hey, we need to fix this system so every vote counts and it counts the right way.
Yeah, but I bet some people think they're just trying to stop the next election.
Oh, yeah.
Or, like, make the current government look bad. Like, it's a big political game.
Exactly. And it all depends on, like, what side you're on.
Right.
But the truth is probably somewhere in between.
Yeah, for sure. This case could really change everything in Guyana.
Absolutely.
And how they do elections from now on.
Yeah, it's not even just about Guyana.
Oh, okay.
It shows, like, a problem that all democracies have.
What's that?
How to keep the voter list correct and updated.
Right.
But also make sure the registration process is, like, easy and safe.
I bet that's super hard.
Yeah. You need a system that stops fraud, but isn't so complicated that people don't want to register. It's tricky. There's no perfect answer. Some places are doing online registration, so it's easier to change your info.
Interesting. Could that work in Guyana?
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, online's great, but what about people in rural areas? Do they all have computers?
That's a good point.
And can they even use them?
Right. And
Yeah.
do they trust the internet with their information?
Yeah, exactly.
It might be better to have online and in-person options.
So people have choices.
Exactly, give them options.
That makes sense.
But tech is just one part of it.
Right.
You need strong laws and someone to watch everything to make sure it's fair and open. Without those, any system can be messed with.
True. This whole thing shows how important it is to have voter lists you can trust. It's about making sure everyone who can vote gets their say and their vote counts.
Exactly. And it makes you think about how to do voter registration the right way. How do we make it easy to use, but also stop fraud and make sure people trust the system?
Yeah, it sounds like a super tough problem. And figuring it out in Guyana means really understanding their situation and what they need. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, and it seems like finding a good solution is going to be tough.
Yeah, no easy answers. But hopefully this deep dive has at least shown like what the big challenges are.
Right.
And like what we need to be thinking about with this whole voter registration thing and making sure elections are fair.
Yeah, definitely given me a lot to think about, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy how like a voter list can cause so much trouble.
It really is.
Like it could change everything.
It shows you just how much power voting has.
Right.
And that we got to make sure it happens the right way.
It's like the whole idea of democracy is at stake here.
Exactly.
So we're wrapping up this episode, but I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
We talked about both sides, what might happen with the court case and what it means for elections everywhere.
Right.
So what do you think is the best way to make sure elections are fair and accurate?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
It's something we always need to be talking about and thinking about. There's no perfect answer.
Right.
But we got to start by admitting that it's a complicated problem.
Okay.
And we need to keep talking about it and be open about it.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. We got to work together to find a system that really works for everyone.
Well said. Well said. That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into voter lists and elections in Guyana.
My pleasure.
We'll be back soon with another topic to make you think. Until then, stay curious.
Accepted, got their letter of acceptance on Tuesday. Wednesday, Minister Indar, sing a heavy name, went into Wakeland and went house to house to where those signatures came from, threatened them, and had them go and remove their names.
That's Deodat Indar.
What is his name?
The minister within the Ministry of Public Work.
Now that, Shanika, is unaccepted. I guess by now that group would have made a protest. So GCOM, I don't know what is happening at that level. But I'm bringing it to the public, the type of things that are happening.
Yes.
The type of things that are happening. And then for Jagdio to go on national television and say that we are intimidating people, even me, bring the evidence. We have the evidence of what you are doing.
Yes. I do know that the incident you're talking about in Wickenham, that was something that persons started to talk about from the day it happened. And many persons, as they had it, the minister literally went door to door to people's houses.
The same thing happened in Corriverton. Happened in Crabwood Creek area, where they went to these people and they started removing their names. And they tell you, say, they threaten them and they remove their names. So what you find is happening now, people go in and remove names because of a flawed process. GCOM contributed to all of this. GCOM contributed to this because what GCOM was there for is to ensure that this process is transparent and it keeps